Hello my dearest friends, welcome back to my channel, Diana and the Book Hunt. It is finally fall and I love this season. I love all seasons generally. There is something that I love about every single season. So I really look forward to summer, I look forward to fall, I look forward to winter. But whenever I've had an amazing summer, right? I've had an amazing time where I've visited so many places. I've gone on all these outings, lakes and beaches and woods and hikes and everything, and I'm a bit maxed out on being outside, being sociable, being summery. So I was really looking forward to the fall season. I'm looking forward to all the amazing cozy vibes, being at home, even during rainy days. I look forward to all the smells, you know, like pumpkin and apples and cinnamon and everything that just reminds you of fall. And also I'm looking forward to the kaleidoscope colors outside, all the changing leaves. I'm looking forward to making these centerpieces for our table with my son, the chestnut, or with like some small leaves and everything. We're making these artworks that we put up on our table. So I'm looking forward to everything that is fall. I'm looking forward to the cozy vibes. I'm looking forward to some cozy reads, to some maybe longer reads than what I've been reading lately. And I'm just going to be talking about books that I think you may want to look into to add to your fall TBR, because I've read these books and I'm going to tell you only a little bit about them so you can just maybe get curious about them to see whether you want to look them up. I'm not going to go into too much detail because I think I went a bit overboard. I have a lot of books on this list, so I'm just going to keep it as short as possible. And yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video where you can potentially get some inspiration to pick up some cozy or some spicy or some just atmospheric books that I think will fit the mood for this fall season. So let's just dive into them. So I think that you won't go wrong with any of the books by B.K. Borison. So her Love Light Farm series are all amazing cozy books set in a small town. Love Light Farms is the first book, but I think that one is maybe more of a Christmassy read, so to read around November, December. So if you're looking forward to reading something right now, I would go with the second book, which is In the Weeds, and also the last book, which is Business Casual, is something that would fit the fall season in my opinion. So whichever book you pick up is going to be a good one because it has all the cozy vibes and all of the romances are really sweet romances. You have plenty of romantic gestures that will they'll have you swooning. So I think those are all books that you can definitely look into. And then speaking about romances that are really sweet and swoon worthy, I think Tara DeWitt does a great job of writing romances that are just such types of romances. So if you pick up Funny Feelings by her or Root Bound, I think you're going to love them for reading them during fall. Funny Feelings has the friends to lovers trope, also a fake dating kind of situation, and it is between two comedians, which is quite unique. So I think that is quite original for the book. And then Root Bound is someone who goes back to their family ranch. She's a photographer, he works on the ranch, and they have this first kind of awkward encounter where he breaks her camera. So they have a bit of an oopsie situation when they meet, but they immediately have an attraction. At least the guy is gone for her quite early on. So it's a good time. Both of them are really a good time. Another author that I think you should definitely look into for fall romances is Ashley Poston. If you pick up The Dead Romantics, that one is really atmospheric because it has a magical realism aspect to it where the heroine falls in love with a ghost. So that is quite unique, and it's really something that I didn't know how it was going to play out within the book, of how it's going to end up in a happily ever after, but believe me, there is one, so you can definitely look into that one. And then also their latest release, which is a novel love story. That one, I think whether you pick it up during the spring season or during the fall season, it's going to work because It has this premise of the heroine getting lost during a rainy day when she's driving, and during that storm she ends up in this magical town, which ends up being this small town where her favorite book is set. So I think it's just very atmospheric for either the spring rainy time or the fall rainy time. So I think you might enjoy this one during this time as well, because it also has this magical aspect to it. So Ashley Poston is definitely someone you need to look up as well. Now, a book that I just recently read that has kind of a paranormal kind of element to it is Haunted Ever After by Jen DeLuca. This one also has a gorgeous cover. If you see it, it gives you all the full vibes because of the colors. We've got a situation where the heroine purchases a house in this small town where everyone knows that that house is haunted, but she doesn't know that when she buys it. And then once she gets there, she is experiencing these paranormal kind of activities within her house, and she gets someone from the small town to help her out with certain things. And one of the guys who is helping her out owns this diner or cafe within the small town, and they fall for each other. It is quite cute. There are certain things like the spooky season stuff that is going on throughout the book that is very atmospheric, so it's very much worth it to pick up during this time of year. The next book wasn't really something that was my cup of tea, but I think that a lot of people enjoyed it, so I'm going to mention it on here so you can look it up for yourself to see if it's going to be for you. It is Do Your Worst. This book also has a gorgeous cover, by the way. This book centers on an American heroine who goes to Scotland to go to this haunted castle because she gets hired to do a job there. She has these paranormal kind of abilities, and we've got the hero who is an archaeologist who does not believe in what she does. So the two of them kind of need to team up to see how they're going to find out what is going on in this castle, and in the process they have this rivalry that turns into more of an attraction and a love relationship together. So this one is quite atmospheric because of the paranormal element to it, so you can definitely look this one up as well. Now, the next book you're going to be seeing on everyone's fall TBR fall reads list, it's The Pumpkin Spice Cafe. This one gives all the Gilmore Girls vibes, and it's quite cozy, it's quite low stakes, and the romance is really fluffy, but it's a good time if you're looking for something very kind of low stakes. Really nothing too exciting is going on, no conflicts that will really get the stakes up high or get some angst going on within the book. There's none of that within this book, but all the cozy vibes that you would want to see like in a show like Gilmore Girls. So I think that everyone is enjoying it because of that. I read it, I had a good time with it, but it wasn't a wow read for me, but I do get why everyone is enjoying it during this time of year, so it's definitely one that is very atmospheric. And then another one that is a bit similar to this one but is a fantasy is Legends and Lattes. This one is a low stakes fantasy kind of monster romance, and it is really beautifully written, so I would definitely recommend it, but don't go into that book thinking that you're going to get like a high stakes fantasy where there's a lot of action, conflict or whatsoever. It's more about the scenery and the relationships and the characters. It's very character driven, so that one is definitely a book that you can pick up during this time of year if you enjoy these kinds of books. And then if I think about a book that is making me feel like late fall to winter vibes for some reason, I'm thinking of Role Playing by Kathy Yardley, because it centers on two characters who live in the small town who are both recluses, so both of them enjoy being inside, playing video games and watching their favorite shows and reading a good book and just being holed up inside and living their best life. So I don't know why, but it's giving me fall or winter vibes, so you can definitely pick it up at this time of year or during the winter. And it's an amazing romance between two characters who are more of a mature demographic, so they're at the end of their 40s to the start of their 50s, which I absolutely love about that book. And it just gives you an idea of what a romance looks like for people who have already had very serious past relationships and are moving on with their lives after having gone through that. So I really enjoyed that about the book. And another book, I'm just thinking about it, that is also centering on mature characters, that also has fall vibes, I believe. If I remember the cover correctly, I think it's set in fall. The book is called The Half of It, and it centers on a hero and heroine who both have been married, and one of them is divorced, one of them is grieving their late husband, and the two of them used to have a relationship when they were quite younger, and they come across each other in this park and they start talking again. So it's a second chance to romance, but in a later stage in life. So I really love that about this book, and I definitely think that more people need to look it up, because such romances are just what we're missing within the bookish community. So please look this one up as well. The next books that I'm going to talk about, at least the next two books I'm going to talk about, are a bit darker. The first one being one that I just recently read called Lights Out by Navessa Allen, I think the author is. Yeah, Navessa Allen. This book centers on a heroine who is a nurse, and she doesn't really have a big social life. She is really dedicated to her work, and she has this kink. She falls for masked men, and she is scrolling through social media and she finds this guy who is really appealing to her. She's commenting on his posts and he notices her, so he starts stalking her. He breaks into her apartment, films a video there, and is provoking her into reacting to what he's doing so that he can get her attention. So this one is slightly darker, but it does have very good banter within it. So there are some kind of alleviating kind of circumstances where you get some laughs and not only dark content within this book. So I really enjoyed that about the book, and I really enjoyed the romance. It was quite fun. So if you want a darker but not very dark kind of a book for this season, then this one is a really good one. And then another book that I think you may enjoy is A Soul to Keep by Opal Rain. This one is a dark fantasy romance, and it has a gorgeous production when it comes to the audiobook. I think it was a duet setting, and the hero, the voice actor for the hero, he did a splendid job for the hero within the book. This one centers on a heroine who lives in this society where they need to sacrifice one of their own to this demon so that nothing bad happens to them. He essentially protects them from everything evil, but essentially she is the sacrifice. So she needs to be offered up to this demon, and she's going to be his bride. And essentially she hates that. She doesn't want to get married to him. She does not want to be a part of his world, but she has no choice. So once they get married, we find out that the hero, this demon, he might have this appearance of a demon, but he is the biggest kind of golden retriever that you can imagine for the heroine specifically. So yeah, I really love that about the book, and I definitely would recommend it within this season. So please pick it up during fall, you're going to love it. And then now that I think of it, I think that the fall season is probably a very good season to pick up like a white shoes romance. So I'm thinking about a specific series that you may enjoy if you are into white shoes romances. And the book that I'm thinking of is actually a series of novellas. It's the 4 Psychos books by Christy Cunning. They are a bit of a wild ride. So they're a fantasy, white shoes, romance with a lot of banter, a lot of humor within them, and you can just binge them. They're short and they're very good, and I would definitely recommend them for fall. The last book that I'm going to recommend for this list, because I think it's quite an extensive list, is by Regine Abel. This is I don't know if it's called a monster romance, but it's definitely like a paranormal romance where we've got a heroine falling in love with the mist. I'm not going to say too much more about it. There is a certain occurrence that goes on within this world, and the being that is within the mist falls in love with our heroine, and he's absolutely obsessed with her. So this book I really enjoyed, and I would definitely recommend it for fall. So my friends, these were all the books that I have read that I can recommend to you to pick up during the fall season. Please let me know what you enjoy reading during the fall season. I know that a lot of people also read thrillers during fall, but I have not read very many this year to recommend. I did read one by Vi Keeland just recently that I really enjoyed. It was called The Unraveling, I think, but that one was a really nice one. Maybe if you want to pick up a thriller, you can pick that one up. That would be my recommendation, because it's the only one that I read this year, or I read another one but I don't remember the title anymore. So yeah, I know that a lot of people are reading thrillers, so I just haven't picked up very many. Maybe I will get kind of motivated to pick up one during the fall season now. But let me know what you're reading during fall. Do you enjoy the cozy vibes, or do you enjoy like darker reads? Do you enjoy reading fantasy romances, romantasies? Do you enjoy reading like more low stakes or high stakes, angsty, non-angsty? What do you enjoy reading during fall? I am all over the place this year. Typically, I kind of have a plan for myself of what I want to pick up throughout a specific period of time, but right now I'm kind of lost. So if you can just give me some motivation to pick up something specific that you have enjoyed or that you're looking forward to picking up, I would greatly appreciate it. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please put a thumbs up if you did, and don't forget to subscribe. I hope to see you in the next one. Have a wonderful, marvelous day. Happy reading. Take care, and bye-bye.